Welcome to the Domain Name Wire podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Alleman, and this is episode number 563. One of the most interesting entrepreneurs I've had on the show is Peter Askew. Many know him for his business selling Vidalia onions on the internet, but he has a portfolio of businesses, and some of them have worked out well for him, while others haven't. On today's show, Peter discusses why he recently sold DudeRanch.com, talks about the latest season selling onions and the challenges it presented, and why a couple of recent projects didn't work out. First, a word from our sponsor. Our sponsor this week is Salve.com and its low-cost back ordering. Right now, you can back order .com domains for only $10.49 at Salve. They're also really good at picking up .me, .co, .io, and .app domains lately. Plus, when you create your Salve.com account, you can take advantage of low fees on all of your domains, such as .com transfers for only $9.65. Start back ordering at Salve. Go to salve.com/DNW/backorder. That's SAV.com/DNW/backorder. Normally, at this point in the show, I run through news from the past week, but I was traveling last week for the Thanksgiving holiday. I was still, however, writing, so go check out any news stories you might have missed at domainnamewire.com. But now, let's chat with Peter. My guest this week is Peter Askew. Peter, welcome back to the show.
Well, I appreciate you having me, Andrew.
Peter, I think about you a lot more than I probably should, because I just sent you a link in your email. I want you to open this up. You have a doppelganger, okay?
Oh, I do?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Take a look at this image and tell me if you agree.
Well, a lot of people used to think I was, who's that basketball player? Oh, yeah, he's pretty close. Yeah.
So I'll include a link.
Who is he?
So this is Chris Pronger. He used to play NHL hockey. He now does like color or commentary and that sort of stuff. But whenever I see a picture of him, I think of you because you guys kind of have the same hair. He's got some facial stuff going on now, but he's also, how tall are you, Peter?
Yeah, 6'8".
Okay, yeah, he's like 6'6" or something like that too. So whenever I see a picture, he towers over everyone, which you do as well.
Yeah.
So and I follow him on X. So whenever he posts something, I'm like, Peter, I've got to reach out to Peter. So I'm excited to have you on the show. I want to talk about some projects you've been working on, how the onion season went, and all that sort of jazz. But let's start with Dude Ranch, DudeRanch.com. So this was a directory for people looking to book a stay on dude ranches, right? And you sold it this year. So talk to me about why.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of my first big deep dives into development. And I found it from expiration 15 years ago, Andrew, in November of 2009. And I had been waiting for about a year and a half, 2 years prior to that point, waiting for a good .com that would expire that I could build and develop. At that point, I was trying all different types of domain investing. I was trying to buy and flip. I wasn't very good at it. I was trying to buy and park, and I wasn't making enough money. And I knew enough about development. And I was like, let me just try some of this small development stuff. So I was developing small little assets. I did AppalachianTrail.com. I bought it, built it out to like a 5 or 10 page site, and it performed. But I saw it had some revenue limitations. Folks hiking the Appalachian Trail from an e-commerce or a commerce standpoint, maybe they buy a tent, maybe a used tent and some dehydrated food. There's no big expense tied to a hike on the Appalachian Trail, maybe some boots. I had an opportunity to sell it and sold it. I bought it for Appalachian Trail. I bought it for $3 and then sold it for $30. And it had 30,000. So I had some cash. I was like, sweet. Okay, that's not a half bad sale. But I was just waiting patiently, and Dude Ranch expired and went up for pending delete, not even pre-release. It was a pending delete, and bought it in 2009, developed it out as like a yellow pages for Dude Ranch vacations. Started visiting Dude Ranches heavily. Became a lifetime member of the Dude Ranchers Association during those years. If you remember that, and then maybe after, 10 years of running it, I acquired that domain birthdayparties.com and thought that it had a lot of possibility. And so I sold Dude Ranch to my friend, tried birthday parties. It fizzled, didn't go anywhere. And so I got rid of birthday parties and then wound up buying Dude Ranch back and a few other properties along with it. And that was about 2.5 years ago. I rebuilt everything. This is a very long-winded answer to your question, but rebuilt it all, brand new back end, brand new front end, design, everything. And that was 2.5 years ago. And I had it, and it is weird. I've never had an opportunity, I've never had a project where I kind of felt like I'd done everything, Andrew. I had accomplished everything that I needed for that project. I was trying to my best to kind of grow revenue a little bit more, and social media is very time consuming because I focus a lot of time on social media for Vidalia, and I enjoy doing it, but trying to stretch my brain to do it for Dude Ranch was a bit too much for me. I didn't necessarily want to hire a VA for it, and just me being me, I didn't want to do that. I was like, well, a new owner would do so well because this Dude Ranch industry is prime for social media. And they, all the ranchers could share you interesting photos or videos. There's lots of other interesting avenues for growth. And I was like, well, Peter, you could sell this right now. The industry is still very strong, and bookings and rates for the Dude Ranch vacations continue to go up, and they continue to sell out year after year. I was like, well, I'm at a sort of a top. I haven't been able to grow the revenue that much more from the top that I got it to. I was making around $50,000 a year for me. And I was like, this is a pretty good opportunity for me to put it on. And I've used the Quiet Light. I don't know who you sold podcast guests.
Yeah, I use International on that one. So I want to ask you about that, because first you kind of listed it on X, said, hey, I'm thinking about selling this. Sounds like a couple people reached out.
Yeah, I don't want to brag, but it got a fair amount of traction on Twitter. And I was still in onion shipping season because I thought I'd just get one or two people who were, kick the tires. And I got 10 or 20 somewhat strong inquiries on the project. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm still doing customer support, doing all fulfillment for Vidalia. I was like, this is too much. I can't do it, because I had a whole day where I spoke to, I had like 10 calls in one day. And I was like, I can't do this. This is a great problem to have. So I'd never used it. I'd heard great things about Quiet Light. So I was like, let me ping them.
So you use them not necessarily to find buyers, but just to handle the process.
But they wound up finding the buyer. It was someone outside of Twitter. All the Twitter folks basically just kind of fizzled away. I thought it'd be one of them, because I had 3 folks that were like, we have cash, we're ready to buy it right now. And then the moment I moved over to a broker, they all faded away. I was like, huh, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
All right. Yeah, it was 3 folks that were very legit. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And it wound up being an empty nester in San Diego. Her 2 sons have left the house, and she kind of grew up in an outfitting Dude Ranch environment, loves Dude Ranches, comes from an apparel and retail side. She's very good at sales. And so she's like a very, very interesting fit. And she and I got along really well. And I was like, her name's Dana. And I was like, Dana, I think Dana's a really, really good fit for this. And so we spoke on Zoom calls and spoke a lot. And then she even spoke to a lot of the Dude Ranches before she purchased it. But yeah, she seemed like a great fit. So yeah, we worked it out, and it was under 30 days from me posting it on Twitter, getting mildly overwhelmed, reaching out to Quiet Light, posting it with them, trying to figure out a purchase price, and then finding her. And then we went through, we had 2 serious buyers, and I had to choose between one of them. I thought it seemed like she was a better fit. So I chose Dana, and it worked out. Thank goodness. So yeah.
Yeah. You always want your baby to go into good hands too, because your name's still kind of associated with it.
Yeah. I was pretty strict. And that's what I was even telling some folks when I was talking to them through the Twitter process, saying like, I'm going to be really, really strict. It's very similar to a Dude Ranch vacation, Andrew. A lot of times folks visiting a Dude Ranch think that they're interviewing the Dude Ranch, and they are. They're trying to find the right ranch. But what they don't know is a Dude Ranch is interviewing just you just as much as you are them, because most of the ranches, they're their homes. So they want to make sure that people coming to go visit their ranch are a correct fit. And if they aren't, they will shepherd you to a different ranch. Maybe it's a higher end ranch. Maybe you want a true cattle drive, and maybe they're just moving their cattle from one ridge to another ridge and they're back into their property. But they'll often do that, move guests to friend ranches down the road or across state lines or what have you. But yeah, I still have a close association with the industry, and I have my ranching job board, so all my dude ranchers are still customers. So I'll still attend the yearly conference that the Dude Ranchers Association hosts.
Yeah, it seems like there were some synergies between those, and in some ways, you kind of lose that synergy too.
I don't know if I lose anything. It's in two entirely different business models. One is bookings, so it's heads and beds at the Dude Ranch, and then most ranches hire seasonally. So come January, they are heavily listing jobs with me to interview starting in January for their summer crew. So wranglers, cabin folks to clean cabins and make beds, and then folks in the kitchen, and then just ranch hands running around the ranch. But yeah, so they're looking for mainly college kids or just right out of college.
What was the revenue model on Dude Ranch? Was it pay per booking or pay per listing or advertising?
Pay per listing. They'll pay me per year. Yeah. Yeah. So they'll pay me a flat fee anywhere from like $500 to $3,000 or $4,000 a year.
Okay. So recurring revenue directory model. Directories are hard to get going because you got to get both sides of the equation. But once you get it going, they're pretty good. What kind of multiples do directories like this sell for?
This one I got close to 6.
Really?
Yeah, it was like 5.5, almost 6 multiple. So I had to raise the price when I listed it with the brokers. I had to pay the broker. So I just raised it, and I was like, if anybody wants it, here's the price.
Yeah.
And they thought it was a little aggressive, but I was like, nah. And I was like, I think we'll be okay. And it got in a small, a tiny bidding war, but the person, Dana, who bought it, offered more than the asking price. Ask was $255, and she offered more.
And you, as far as your day-to-day on this, you didn't have a whole lot of work that you were doing, right?
Yeah, it wasn't a terrible amount. I'm overseeing the site, and I'm heavy on analytics and site speed, and I spent a tremendous amount of time rebuilding them from scratch. So that was probably, 3 to 6 months per site. So I had 3 sites that I was overseeing: Dude Ranch, GuestRanches.com, and DudeRanchVacations.com. I rebuilt all 3.
And all of those were part of the package?
Correct. Yeah, sold all of them. But Dude Ranch was the line. It was the beachhead.
Yeah, I'm just thinking from a day-to-day perspective, because when I think about multiples, one of the questions that comes up a lot when I look at these things is someone's like, oh, it's making X. And I'm like, yeah, but you're working full time on it. And then it's like, so basically you're buying a job at that point.
Correct. It was somewhat hands-off. I could focus a majority of my attention on ranch work and Vidalia. And if something went a little off kilter on Dude Ranch, I could shift my focus there for a few hours a day. But I'd check in each morning, how's it performing? And is there a conference? So I'd attend a conference. So I'd attend a yearly conference, or Colorado has their own.
Which you'll still do, it sounds like, for your ranch work.
Yeah, but it was probably one of my more hands-off projects. Yeah, but nothing really bad. No real revenue downfall. It was strong. And I was like, well, this might be a good opportunity to put it on since revenue is strong. The new person could probably grow revenue better than I can. I'm okay at sales. Like, it really does help to have somebody who is not shy of just calling folks, and I can do an okay job. But Dana was quite good at it. She has an entrepreneurial background. She had her own apparel company, and so she's considering going into like some apparel stuff for Dude Ranchers, maybe clothing you might wear, cowboy stuff. She loves that kind of stuff.
Increase those, I hate the word synergies, but increase those synergies that go with it.
But she has a lot of interesting ideas, which I really admired. And it seemed like she would be a really good parent to it, because it was a small child to me in some odd way.
Yeah. Well, congrats on the sale. I want to ask you about onions, because the onion season is over. The 2025 onion season, we're recording this at the end of October. So you said, I reached out to you earlier in the year, and you're like, hold on, I'm trying to ship onions here.
Yeah.
So VidaliaOnions.com, you also own onions.com. Tell me, how did the onion season go for you?
We were good. I should have been doing this years ago. I'm very bad at delegating. I'm learning this about myself. I'm bad at delegating stuff, and I tend to put too much stuff on my plate. And I'm learning how to slowly try to identify people that can help me, mainly customer support. Folks place an order. This is a very labor-intensive project. And, we grow, pack, and ship Vidalias, and then making sure the box lands at their house, and then making sure the customers are happy with their purchase. And it's a very hands-on. There's a very strong, and it's very similar to dude ranching and ranch work. And these are the types of projects that I'm attracted to. almost like close relationship that people have with Vidalias. It's very personal to them that they want their Vidalia to taste exactly like it was when they grew up because their granddaddy made it for them or their mama made it for them. And now they are the parent and they want to give it, maybe share it with their kids. But sometimes, they'll have one and they think it's a bit too, this is very rare, but maybe they just are, they think it's a touch too pungent, and what is very subjective. So what is the pungency level? So they want to talk to someone. And so we got to make sure that they're taken care of, that their expectations are met. But yeah, so, we started this, this is our 11th season shipping, and we just crossed 100,000 pounds of shipping this past year.
This year, congratulations.
Yeah. So I was wrapping that up, and we continue to grow. We have some neat announcements I can't share yet, but hopefully in the next couple of months, we got some neat announcements, some partners we're going to try to partner up with. And so that...
you have more inventory than that, right? You could sell more if you had it.
So the farm has wholesale, and then we have internet. So we're selling millions of pounds through our brokers, directly at grocery stores. And then I am the internet component. Me and Aries is the grower packer shipper, and he owns A&M, and I am, part owner in our digital efforts. Basically, we have another LLC for the digital efforts. And I kind of oversee that. So all great growth stuff's wonderful. Advertising is working. We have loyal customers.
What are you doing to advertise?
Social worked pretty darn well. Probably will plan to go a little bit more into TikTok this year or next year. And Facebook, Instagram is helpful. Paid search has kind of flatlined or even a little bit strong. SEO is always very helpful for us. Email marketing is excellent. It's really just check any box. I'll test anything. I'll test billboards. I'll test a sign on a bus. I'll test a bike rider riding across the United States. I don't care. I'll test anything. And that's kind of where I came in, from a marketing and advertising standpoint.
So you said that you were trying to find ways to take yourself out of the business a little bit for certain roles. So what did you do this year? Were you able to bring people in certain roles to alleviate?
That's what I'm working towards. The blessing on this project is I have downtime. So we finish up our season, and then I can tinker on the operation of the business. What do I need to fix? This year, the customer support mildly broke me because I had a friend who was helping me from a customer support standpoint, and he got sick, so he had to back out. And so everything came back on my plate, and I thought I had this taken care of. And so I was doing all advertising, all customer support, all just everything. And I went a little mildly bananas through it, but I have a pretty good path I think I've laid out in front of me on just getting some extra help, just getting up. Mainly customer support, just mainly kind of a head of customer support, a shared inbox, phone number if folks need to call up, and then working better with our...
Yeah, because you answer the phone if someone calls, right? Because people can place their orders.
I was doing that for the first couple of years. Nowadays, is if they want to place a phone call order, we politely ask that we do a Calendly. They'll do a phone call appointment. Just say, please pick a time. We are happy to call you. Playing phone tag is very difficult in this kind of business where the margins are so razor thin. And then playing phone tag, I'll be playing phone tag with these folks for 2 or 3 hours a day. I can't do that. So we kindly ask, hey, we are a small farm. If you prefer to place a phone call order, please just pick a time and we will call you at 2:00 on Wednesday, and we'll happy to take your phone call order over the phone. And so we do it that way. And then we'll take text messages. So a lot of our customers, we have an older demographic that tends to purchase. They're very comfortable text messaging. So we have text messaging activated for our phone number. So oftentimes they'll ask, where's our order? Can I reorder? All the normal questions. Are you real Vidalia farmers? Are you XYZ? But so I'm going through kind of just some administrative stuff, trying to get those layers on, because we have some other things that should be bubbling up for next season. I want to make sure that I'm focused on some of those avenues for growth, and then try to get some foundation in. And that is not my strong point. I tend to do everything myself, but I need to teach myself how to get some help, get some either virtual assistants or work with. We have a few folks at the pack and shed who are probably going to pitch in as well, just so I can focus on it bubbled up in my head this year. My role is really sales, marketing, and business development is where I need to be just focused all my time. How can I grow this thing? Because I don't know if I would have ever expected it would have gotten to 100,000 pounds. So we're here at 100. I think it can get bigger. I think there's more. There might be, not that I'm craving growth. It's just I see it is telling me that it can grow more, because I'm not the type of person who will pour gasoline to try to get something to grow so fast. I just see it saying to me, there are opportunities for growth here. It is still, because I thought we were beginning to cap out around 80 or so, but then found some other avenues for
80,000
pounds. 80,000 pounds a year shipping. But then, no, lo and behold, we found some other avenues, and then we have some potential partners for next season. Yeah. And so, trying to lay some foundation for next year, just to delegate some of this work off of my plate, hopefully. I'm going to have to learn how to do that, and then learn how to oversee some folks and make sure everybody's taken care of.
I want to ask you, so we've talked about a couple of successes. Dude Ranch, you sold the VidaliaOnions.com. It's just year in, year out, a challenge, but a success story, I would say. But I had you on many years ago to talk about birthdayparties.com, which was a directory model, so similar to Dude Ranch. That one didn't work out for you. Why would you say that it didn't work out?
Yeah, the clientele is quite different. I can only say just from a failure standpoint on why it didn't work, but Dude Ranch is a higher ticket item. Your family of four going to a Dude Ranch, it's $10,000 to $20,000, $30,000 for a booking. So there's a nice chunk of change being changed hands. Birthday parties, I was encouraged, because a birthday party might cost $300 to $500, and maybe they roll through.
It's a big revenue source for a lot.
I thought they might need some help, but it was interesting when I launched Dude Ranch, I was immediately embraced in the industry, and they just welcomed me in and started supporting me. It's mainly because of that domain name, Andrew. They saw the domain, and I had built a site that was respectable enough, and they were like, okay, the name of the industry, and they have a directory site. We need to be listed on this site, because they were confident that I was going to get enough traffic, and I was getting enough because I was getting type-in traffic at the beginning. And so that helped from
different time frame. You said that was 2009.
I still got type-in traffic. It was 50 visits a day. 30 to 50 in the early part, but the more I built the brand.
But you were advertising it too, so some of those are probably repeat visitors, right?
And the tail end, At the beginning, it was 100%, just like Warren Royal doing bobbleheads. He was getting 100%.
Yeah. Different times, browsers work differently. People just typed in a domain name of what they were
listen, they're still doing it. It's not like this is evaporated. They're still typing in and what they're looking for at Adden.com. I see it on brand new domains that I'll buy, but it's hard to find a high ticket item product with type in traffic that you can build something around. That's rare. And that you also find
and be able to afford
the name, and that you find fulfilling, that you enjoy waking up and working on every single day. So I started, trying to do this birthday parties. And I'd been welcomed in, and not welcomed in, but they were very receptive, and they supported me. And not that I need supporting, but it was an easier site to build out. And I started trying to build out birthday parties, and I was approaching, I went to a conference and spoke to a few folks. Wasn't doing a very good, maybe it was potentially just on my shoulders, but wasn't getting that much of reception. So I was trying to see if there was a pain point in the industry. One goofball threatened a lawsuit if I listed his information on his website. I was like, well, that's interesting. I'm sorry for making your phone call, but I'm happy to pull you off the website if you don't want any folks coming to your business for birthday parties. And I kept trying to build it. It was very similar to my call tracking. Man, I've had so many failure projects. It was a very similar experience when I was building out call tracking, just kind of getting resistance trying to build this thing out, versus when I built Dude Ranch, it just seemed to start flowing, and just started working. Vidalia, I opened up the site. People started submitting email addresses for notification when the season began. I was like, gosh, I don't know if these are real email addresses. And then we opened the store up, and orders started coming through. We're like, what is going on? How does this work? But it's working. Well, let's just keep going. Let's see what's happening. And me being spoiled on those types of experiences, I prefer those types of experiences. I don't want to work too hard. I am happy to work hard, but I'm not interested in trying to force a sale. I like to find folks that are lined up outside of a door and the door just happens to be closed. And I want to just open the door and customers are standing there and I can just start taking their orders. I've gotten spoiled on those types of projects. And so oddly, I try to look for those. And if I'm not getting any traction after 6 months, at longest a year, I kill it. I ain't got time for this. Move on to the next project. And it's either...
I want to ask you, because last time you were on the show, last year, actually, beginning of 24, you were working on some wedding sites. And I'm curious kind of how those are going, how much time you're spending on them.
Similar to time-wise, similar to like a dude ranch. So you can build those out and kind of let them sit and marinate in some small way. I mean, I have SavannahWedding.com. I moved down here to Savannah a few years back. Big wedding destination city. Very similar market to dude ranches. Very high ticket. A lot of money being spent on weddings. I've always been fascinated with the wedding industry and not spending a ton of time, but I'm overseeing them, trying to see if one begins to gain traction. To your point, those directory marketplaces take some time. And if it's a longer domain, I was fortunate with Dude Ranch, smaller, lots of type in traffic. So with Savannah Wedding, it may require a few years maybe just to build a little bit of SEO authority and just maybe get some type in traffic, links on other sites that maybe I just get natural type in traffic, maybe some of the like ChatGPT and some of this new form.
I was going to say, I mean, that whole SEO, I mean, the model you've used in the past might not work in the future, right? And I mean, if someone wants to plan a wedding in Savannah, they might now, instead of just typing in or Googling Savannah weddings, they might be going to ChatGPT and saying, hey, I want to have a wedding in Savannah. What should I do? Who should I call? Who should I use? Right? I mean, do you see any changes there?
I mean, it's possible. I'm somewhat flexible based on kind of where the traffic goes. Yeah, I always go back to sometimes in some of the, whenever there is a big, I mean, ChatGPT and some of this AI search is interesting, but search volumes at Google haven't been impacted that much. Their market share has not been impacted that much right now. It's pretty...
The clicks, though, have changed, right? The clicks through to your site.
I'm not getting a terrible amount of traffic to Savannah and some of my wedding sites right now. It's mainly just kind of a wait and see, but I get traffic from AI search. I don't even know what to call it, but I guess it's AI search or whatever the acronym is for that industry. But I see inbound traffic from those sites because oftentimes they'll recommend, what I've seen is they'll recommend, oh, try this site, this site, this site. But if you just need a kind of a guide to guide you around on lots of different options, check out SavannahWedding.com and see if they have options. And then I can list out I can list, 5 or 6 florists, 5 or 6 videographers, transportation, tuxedos, or wedding outfits. Yeah, so it's mainly just kind of wait and see. I do enjoy that industry. I'm not pushing all my chips into it. It's mainly, oftentimes with this development stuff, what I've found is I try to have a lot of, pokers in the fire to see, okay, which one, I don't know, or like a lot of fishing lines in the back of a boat. I don't know which one is which one is going to hit.
Which one's going to start to take off. Yeah.
I can't put all my chips into one thing. A lot like domain investors. I mean, you have to have a lot of domain names. You don't know which domain is going to sell. So you got to have a very large library and then have 1 or 2, very good hits per year. And maybe that can pay for overhead or new acquisitions. I just kind of go at it from a development standpoint.
But you're also looking at potentially adding, right? I saw an X the other day. You were asking if anyone had any good domains, descriptive domains.
Yeah, there are a lot of domainers on I have a hard time calling it X on Twitter and X. Yeah, so oftentimes you can kind of rattle the cage up over there, but a lot of times it's kind of junk. There's nothing that interesting. Or they won't follow the rules, and I was saying, give me a dictionary term, and then people were bending the term of what a dictionary term is.
In .com, all of a sudden it's a 5-word
or something. So yeah, but you never know. You never know if one domainer that maybe they need to pay some bill, they got some boat they want to buy, or new car, and they have an interesting domain that fits my kind of niche. So I was like, this is why it's nice to have some connections on Twitter, so I can at least reach out and see if there are any possibilities out there. But I'm also looking at raw domains. I love the expiry market, so I'm always looking at expiry, but I'm looking at
Yeah, you always post on X when you see an opportunity from a good.
Yeah, that's always fun. I mean, if somebody is looking for, because I can't build and develop them all, so I'll just share any interesting ones. Like I found ascots.com the other day, which seemed like a really neat e-commerce opportunity. Somebody wanted to buy it and maybe do a men's clothing or just sell ascots. I was like, I can't build this. I have one D2C business that I can keep in my brain space. I can't start selling ascots. I was like, what a cool name. What a great single term, plural e-commerce brand. That could go either way. But yeah, so I'm looking at expiry or like small, maybe a mom and pop site that maybe hasn't been updated in a couple of years or maybe 10 or 20 years. Maybe they're interested in selling. It's very challenging to find somebody who would be interesting. I found one that was very interesting, but it kind of fizzled after about a month of working on it. Found one recently in the job board space, but we couldn't get right on the price, so I had to pass on it. But it's a patience game and not trying to get. I'm quite thankful I have two projects that can keep my head above water, that both are performing well, and I'm very excited to wake up and work on them every day, that's part of the challenge as well. And that I never know prior to, developing a project whether I'm going to actually enjoy working on it every day. I mean, I might think I might enjoy working on it, but then when the rubber meets the road and I get into it and I start working on it, sometimes like, gosh, I thought I'd enjoy this and I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. And maybe I'd just sell it or kill it. It is very much like an amusement park and just walking around. And you see all these little roller coasters and rides to try, and I don't know which one seems interesting. That one, ride A seems really interesting, and ride B, let's try ride A. Try ride A, it was okay. And then you try ride B, and you're like, oh gosh, it didn't look like much, but man, that dip and loop-de-loo that it put me through, that was excellent. Let's do that one again. And so a lot of times that's how I almost approach it. I don't know until I fully build. I have to buy the domain, build it out, and physically put myself into the business to see if I'm a good fit.
See if you're still jazzed about it.
Yeah, I can't make that determination just by look and feel. I have to get into it and try it out.
Well, I encourage anyone listening to follow Peter on X/Twitter. You're at Searchbound, right? SEARCHBOUND.
Yes.
Because you do post a lot of interesting things, some domains you find that might be interesting opportunities for people as well.
Yeah, I try. There's so many domains expiring. And like I mentioned before, I can't develop them all. So like early in my little Twitter journey, I was like, well, I'll just share these on my page. Only ones that kind of pass my sniff test that I can't build or buy, or I'll just post it and see if anybody else. Because a lot of times finding a project is just like a tiny bit of inspiration and finding something. And then there's so many strong developers, at least that hang out on Twitter, but a lot of times they need a little bit of a nudge from a marketing or advertising standpoint, which oftentimes tends to be their kind of weak spot. They need some sort of inspiration. And man, expiring domains are just a water hose of inspiration out there. And so I was like, I'll just see if these help anybody else. And they're fun because they're so random. There's no set topic. It can be anything. And the domain is always kind of fun to dig up and then share and see what the response is from everybody over there.
Well, Peter, thanks so much for coming back on the show. Congrats on your 100,000 milestone and the onion business as well.
Thank you, Andrew.
My guest this week has been Peter Askew. Again, you can follow him on X at Searchbound. That's a wrap on this week's Domain Name Wire podcast. You can listen to all previous episodes at dnw.com/podcast or on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening.